after you graduated, you had this job in San Diego, and you were fired. Why were you fired?
I went to San Diego to take care of my mom. She'd ended up living there. She had had heart problems, and so I went to take care of her. I was paying the rent. A couple dead-end jobs. My first boss was trying to do like a nudie calendar of the girls that worked there, and he didn't actually bother me about it. I think he knew that was a dead end, but he was really pressuring a young girl who was 16 and had recently got kicked out of her home, and she was really feeling the pressure to cave because I think he'd probably threatened to fire her or something like that. And so I stuck up for her, and he fired me like on the spot when I stuck up for her. And so I went out and sat down on the table, and this guy goes, "What's the matter? You look sad." I was like, "I just got fired." And he's like, "You need a job?" I was like, "Yes." And so I went to work for him. He started a business that was like a computer, I don't know, warehouse or something at the time, selling software or something. And I was supposed to make sales over the phone. I was not very good at it. I was great at talking on the phone, just not great at selling things on the phone. And so he took me aside to reprimand me, I thought, and he ended up propositioning me. So I slept with him. I didn't sleep with him. Just seeing if you were listening. Well done. Like, this took a dark turn. We're trying not to judge, Jewel. No, I did not sleep with him. I joked it off, which you can tell I am clearly wanting to do. And I didn't think a lot of it. It wasn't a huge blowout. It wasn't a big scene. We ended up talking about a bunch of other stuff. He's pretty, I thought, a really decent guy. And I went into work the next day because my rent was due, and I had a very nice landlord, but I was late so often in my rent, usually $5 short. That he was like, "If you're late again, we're going to have to ask you to leave." And so I went into work the next day for my paycheck, and went into my boss's office, and he was looking at some papers, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here for my paycheck," and he just kept looking at his papers, and I thought he needed a minute. So I waited a few minutes, and several months go by, and I'm like, "Hey, here for my paycheck." And it became abundantly clear that he would not be giving me my paycheck. And I left there humiliated and horrified and dejected, and tried, how you go home and tell your sick mother that you're getting kicked out of where you're living and you can't pay the rent. So I finally went home and I told her. I was sobbing, and she had a very funny reaction. She was like, "Let's just live in our cars until you get a new job and we can save up enough money for a new apartment." And I was like, "We can just do that." Like, it felt like the best idea ever. It was like such a stress reliever. And so, I think when you're raised in a saddle barn without running water or electricity, like living in a car by yourself in San Diego actually does sound kind of nice. So that's what I did. She moved into her car and I moved into mine, and I thought I would get a new job very quickly and get back on my feet. But I had sick kidneys at the time, so I kept getting sick and kept missing work with too many sick days. I actually almost died in the emergency room parking lot, right in La Jolla, actually, because they wouldn't see me because I didn't have insurance, which no idea if that was legal, but I remember being very, very busy and they just shooed me out. And I wasn't great at advocating for myself. I don't know if anybody's ever had a kidney infection. It's debilitating. It makes you very, very sick, and so you get blood poisoning because your kidneys quit filtering your blood. And I think I was getting blood poisoning or something. I was throwing up all over myself, and I had a tremendous fever, and I was too sick to drive anywhere else. I was in the passenger side seat of the car that I was living in. It was a tiny little beat-up Datsun hatchback, and I was just covered in vomit. And I remember a guy tapping on the window, and it was a doctor that had seen me get turned away, and he gave me antibiotics in his business card. He treated me for free for many years, actually well into me getting discovered, and he saved my life that night.
There are some good people out there.
Yeah, there are some great people out there, absolutely. And then the car was stolen, and that sucked. I wasn't in it, so that was awesome. And that's how I ended up homeless, and it is a difficult cycle to get out of, the poverty cycle.